Hey, what's going on, everybody? Game Geezer here. I'm working on a 99 Dodge Durango with the 5.2 liter V8. It also uses the same pump as the 5.9 liter. Changing the power steering pump today. So things that I got is a pulley remover, because you're going to need to take your old pulley and put it on here. What else? I got this pan here. We're going to drain the old power steering fluid into it. And how we're going to do that is we're going to, probably what I'm going to end up doing is just disconnecting one of the lines and running it into that hose, and then just running the car, and it'll squirt all the power steering in there and let it do it that way. So that's what that's for. You're going to need some more power steering fluid to put back when it's all installed. I bought this power steering pump right here that comes with the reservoir. There's part number. Not too bad, so hopefully it's not a dud or anything. They give you some seals in there, so I'll probably check those out in a minute here, see what those are about. I also bought both of the hoses brand new that run to it. See, this one's double threaded here and on both ends. So they give you these little tiny seals in this package with this little yellow cap. And I think the cap's just to kind of get your attention, but these little seals go, you know, over there, so on both sides. So you don't want to forget that, because then they're going to leak if you don't put them on, and you're not going to be happy. Same with this side here, but this one only needs one on this hose, and the other end's just a standard, like, slide on and put a clamp on it. So those are the two hoses I got for it, and I'm gonna see what those seals are about. Okay, so here's the other two seals that come with the pump. They just give you a big one and then the standard one that we've been seeing on these hoses. And I guess they give you some different scenarios, so if you need the big one, you can use it. But I don't think any of those hoses actually need that big one there. But I'll pay attention as I'm taking apart the old one, just to verify that. And just the install guide, basically telling you, you know, disconnect the battery, which, I mean, that's up to you if you want to do that. Removing the belt. But before I remove the belt, honestly, I'm going to just do the battery, and then I'm going to disconnect a hose and drain it into the tub there. Let the car do it with the pump on, because what do I care? The pump's going to get changed anyway, so I'm going to do it that way, and then I'll take the belt off and take out the bracket and all that stuff, and try to do the pulley and everything in the bracket outside of the vehicle. But we'll see how this goes, so let's do it. Okay, so here we are at the car. Here's the pump. And the lines running to the back there. Now, what I'm gonna do, let's see here if I can get this camera light on. I'm not used to Apple yet. Get my flashlight. Come on, man. That hose right there, that's the one that just needs a little screw, a flat head or whatever. So I'm going to take that one off. And it's got some length, but it goes down. So I'm going to pull it off and drain that into the tub. And I'll start the car and let the pump, you know, eject all the fluid out of there. So that'll make it a lot easier. So that's what I'm going to do first. Get the old crap out. Okay, so now I got my camera light on for this one. You can see I disconnected that hose there, and I put my little bucket under. I made kind of a little mess, but that's all right. I need to clean the garage floor anyways. But not too much of a mess. Just, you know, like I could, if I was lazy, I could do napkins. You wouldn't even know there was fluid there. But I let it start draining out. It started kind of dribbling out of the bracket back here. And after I got the pan where I wanted it to, and it was catching all the fluid, then I opened up the lid, and that lets the air circulate, so then the fluid came out much quicker. Then when I stopped hearing the fluid or seeing it, I went and started the car. and move the steering wheel left and right, and that helps get the rest of the crud out of there that's stuck in there. So now that that's done, I'm going to just start taking this apart. I'm going to try to do this without touching the radiator or anything. I'm going to try to show you what I'm planning on doing. Basically is I'm going to use this pulley here, which is your tensioner pulley for your serpentine belt. So I'm going to put some tension on this, and it'll release the slack in the belt, and I'll take the belt out of the way, and I'll try to just move it somewhere out of the way so I don't have to redo these pulleys. And then you can see this gray bracket here. The pump is built onto that. So you got these 4 bolts here. You got one up here, one down there. Focus camera. Oh no. Anyways, there's 4 bolts. You got one up here and then one below that. So you got one up here, one down there. It's kind of hard to see. And then these 2 over here. And that should be it as far as the bolts that are just holding the pump on there. Because I know once we take this bracket off and we take this pulley off, there's like 4 more bolts under there. So anyways, we're just going to get at it, and I'm just going to learn as I go, and I'm going to tell you what not to do. So here we go. Okay. So I grabbed a little socket there. I grabbed just a 15. It's 14 or a 15 on that one, but either way, it worked nicely. Stuck it on that socket there, turned it this way. As it released tension, I pulled the belt off so it wouldn't take any slack out of the others. Got it around here, let go of the tension, and held the tension with the belt myself. And then I weaseled it up here and folded it this way and zip tied it so all my pulleys will stay with the belt pretty much in the right place. And that's just now it's just time to work on the pump itself. So I'm going to start taking these 4 bolts out. Don't forget about this ground wire here. I want to put that back. So I'm going to take those out and see how far the pump will let me move it. Because if it'll let me pull it up out of the way, then I can take those lines out easier. So we'll see what happens, because I don't want to try to take them out of the back there like that, unless I have to. There's only 1 line left in there, but it's screwed into the back there, and it looks kind of annoying. So we'll see what goes on. Anyways, I'm gonna start taking those bolts off, and we'll continue. Okay, the first bolt is out. Took out the bottom one down there. It was a 14 millimeter. Just got my little socket here. Popped it back in there, got that one out. That was pretty easy. There's the bolt there. This pipe's a little warm because the car is being ran and coolant goes through there, so just be aware of that. Now I think I'm going to use a wrench for these 2, and this one I haven't decided yet. We'll see. We'll be back. So to get that nut off there was a 15 millimeter. I was holding the ground wire. I just tucked it out of the way. And this is back to a 14. I already broke it free. So this is going to be number 2. So we're getting there. This tube is still warm for me though, so I'm kind of watching my hand here. And then I'm going to start working those other ones there. Not bad, pretty easy. Alright, we're getting there. Okay, so now I'm going to use my little wrench here, figure out these sizes. They look like 14s. And I'm going to take those out and see what happens. Okay, so I took those 2 bolts out. They were 14 millimeters. I used this little ratchet in one here, so that's what I'd recommend. Fit in there real easily. These aren't too hard to take the bolts out, at least on mine they weren't. They weren't stuck in there or anything, so everything's coming out pretty smooth. Get my ground wire out of the way here. So you can see I'm getting pretty close to the battery. After I took those out, basically the pump fell down. When you're taking them out, you want to loosen the top one and then loosen the bottom one, but don't take either one completely out so that the weight will be balanced on both of them. And then when you get them both pretty much ready to pop out, just take one out. You're going to have to hold the pump with one hand, take the other one out, because otherwise the pump will drop. Now I pulled the pump up here, and it's resting there, but it was getting close to my contact, so I went ahead and took the positive off anyways. Stupid battery terminal wins again. So anyways, the only thing left holding this in here is this one line back here. And it's not this one, it's the one right under it. Right there. That kind of looks like it might be a 14 also. I don't know, I'm going to pop a wrench on it, try to pop it off, and pull this out so we can work on it outside of the car and get it ready to come back in. And that'll be more convenient. So anyways, let's get started. So I wanted to show you guys this. The hose had enough slack in it that I could bring it up here. It kept wanting to pull back down there, but you know, with some finagling, I got it set it up here on the battery. Just like so, was able to pop this wrench on here, and boom, I broke it free. So now I'm just gonna finish getting that hose out of there, and we'll be able to pull the assembly out of the car and start taking the pulley and the bracket off and putting it on the new pump. Okay, you can see I got the assembly out. This here is part of the pulley remover, and this one is to reinstall the new pulley, or the original back on the new pump when it's done. So this one's going to reinstall, this one's going to pull the old one off so I can reuse it. This is just a different type of thread bolt, so if you have a different size. I guess I'll go ahead and explain how this works for you guys. Most of y'all probably will figure out on your own how to get this going, but basically, let me try to undo what I've done here. So this is loose now. Get that shield off of there. You'll see that when you pull these away, all right, the pulley has a lip around it, and you just take this giant bolt and you kind of get the head flush like so, and you just kind of set it on there, and then you get these grooves to grab the lip of the pulley like that, and then you do the other one. Try to make sure that you got the right side. No. Okay. That may actually be upside down. I need to flip those around. I always get confused myself on these. Yeah, that's better. Flip that around. Just make sure you got them right on there. You know? But anyways, so that's the gist of it. I'm going to put it back, and then I'm going to start tightening it and pull this off. And when you're ready to put the new one on, I don't know if y'all are watching, but this sleeve is what holds those down while you're doing everything. You're going to find the thread that fits in there, because there's threads actually in this. So this is the one for me. So what I'll do is when I get the new one on, new pulley, I'll screw this up with the screw, and I'll tighten this all the way down. It'll push the pulley back on there. So that's kind of how that works. Also, side note that I forgot to mention, that that line that went into the back that I took out, that's a 16 millimeter, just by the way. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get that back on here, and I'm gonna start popping that off, and so we could take the pulley and the bracket back with us. This is what I got rigged up here. You can see I got my, I think it's 13/16. Yeah. And it's down here because all this is going that way, so I'm going to let the ground hold that. And I got a 16 millimeter socket on the top here. And while I hold this with my left hand and I crank this with my right hand, there's also a gap in the bottom. It's letting the pulley slowly come out. So I just have to hold this end down and crank with this arm, and this is slowly coming out. So I'm going to finish up. If I could mount this to my head, I would, and I would show you guys, but this is the best I can do. But at least I'm giving you ideas how to copy, you know, how to do this, because it's hard to get these pulleys off, especially when they're already unbolted out of the car. But I didn't want to mess with the radiator and trying to make space and stuff, so this is why I'm doing it outside the car. So anyways, I'm going to finish taking this pulley off, and we'll be back. Got my pulley. Now you can see there's the revealed 4 bolts that are holding the bracket to the pump, and those are 16 millimeters. So I'm going to take those off. I'm going to put this bracket on my new pump and get the pulley going, and then we'll have basically what we took off ready to go. So let's do that now. I'm pretty sure it's straightforward from here. I don't want to make this video super extremely long, so I'm going to go ahead and take those 4 bolts out, take the bracket off, and go ahead and set it up on the new pump. So we're going to start reverse ordering it, and then after we get it all assembled, I'll go in and I'll take those old lines out, and then we'll be ready to drop the new one in. Okay, just wanted to throw this little tip in. Some of these came out easy and some of them were annoying, but the best way I found to do it is you're going to crank this way with your right arm, and kind of with your left arm you're going to kind of hold this like this, and just kind of put your foot over there on that little line there, and together they'll break free without too much hassle. Also, another tip, use their old bag or something, because you know the old fluid is still kind of seeping out and all that junk. So anyways, okay, so there's the bracket separated, the 4 bolts. All right, now in this exact same pattern I have the bolts sitting that way over here because they're not all the same size. So just keep that in mind. I think 3 of them are the same size, and I think just this bottom right one is the short one. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And here we go. I'm going to put the new pump, get rid of this old one, and start putting it back together. Okay. So what I did on these, I just hand tighten them. You don't want to tighten one down and go in an order. You want to do them all hand tight, kind of leave them a little loose until you get the bracket on there. Hand tighten them. And then you're going to tighten them with your socket in an X pattern. So like boom, 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 something like that. And just go over all of them, make sure they're nice and snug. And that's that. Now we're going to put the original pulley back on there. And this will be basically ready to drop back in. So I just got my pulley back on. Now if you're going to do this part outside the car, this is a big pain. This is what I used here with this little smaller screw, and screwed it in and everything, and you start tightening this down. Well, you tighten this one down first, screw this one down all the way, and then you start tightening this and it pushes the pulley down. Now it sounds good, but when you start getting some serious pressure on, the pulley will start to swivel. So what I had to do is put my foot on a bolt on this side, my other foot on a wrench on this side to keep it from moving, and then I had my ratcheting wrench here tightening it down, and when it got to the point where it was starting to want to spin the pulley, I put this on here and held that down with my hand, and I got it all the way on. Now, basically the pressure I applied with my hand would be applied with the belt if you put it on the car. So if your words are not strong enough, you might want to just put it in the car and get the belt on it. Helped you hold it down, because you can get it kind of going, but it starts to want to spin, So this part was kind of a pain. This is probably the hardest part right here, just because it was more strength than anything. It wasn't difficult, it was just a lot of pressure. So anyways, I got it all installed, so it looks spiffy. I'm happy with it. And I'm gonna go ahead and start working on those lines, replace the lines, so I can just drop this back in. So first, it's a 3/4. See, I put the seal on it already, and this is the end that's just gonna pop out like that. Now both of the lines, you can just follow them down there. They go to a little line down there. See that? So I'm just going to follow them, go to the other end, disconnect them, install this one with the seal. Don't forget your seal. And then I'll start on the next one. I'll tell you the sizes on that. Alright, so this is the hose that actually ended up coming out first, because the way the lines are ran, and they're ran so close to each other at the base underneath the car there. So anyways, this one ended up coming out first. Yep, so one end is a 16 that goes into the back of the pump, and then one end is a 18. And for this end, that end, the 16 end, I was able to do it with just a regular wrench, but this one here, this 18, I had to use this like flare wrench, 18. So I did that, got that one out, This hose right here, which is the other hose I need to take out, it's just a simple clamp on one end, but on this end, it's a 3/4. What the heck? So they don't give you any room under there. I'm not gonna crawl under there with my new phone, with all that grease and stuff under there, but yeah, 3/4. So I gotta go pick up one of these flanged versions of these in the 3/4, just so I can take this old hose off and put this new one on. Because there's literally no room. Unless you happen to have a wrench that's 3/4 that's kind of short, you're not going to be able to do it. But all mine are standard size, you know. So, anyways, I'm going to go make a trip to the store, and I'll come back and continue. Okay, so I managed to find a short 3/4 wrench, and I got my lines tightened up down there, because one's a 3/4, one's an 18. And then I tightened this 16 up here in the back of the pump, the new pump here. And the other hose is there, it's ready to pop on, it's just dangling there. Pop it on here, screw the clamp down. I'm gonna reverse install this and should be good to go. My old pump did not have these here. Don't know what that's about. I'm just going to leave them there, I guess. If they cause some kind of issue, I'll let you know. They're just not on my old pump. They're just empty. I don't know if those were supposed to like lock the pulley or something, or the pump from spinning or anything, or what the deal is on those. So I'm going to pay attention to that when I get a little farther. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put this in and test it out, and I really hope that these don't come back to bite me, so we'll see. Here we go. Alright, so everything's back in there. Also, you got to take your cap off your old one and use it, because they don't give you a cap, so just keep that in mind. Got the belt there, everything's hooked up, hoses and everything. Now I was hoping I didn't have to go to the auto store, but I still do for power steering fluid. So I'm gonna go get the fluid and fill it up. After I fill it up there, what you need to do next is make sure your belt's lined up, and then you're gonna do some false starts. And basically what those are is like you bump the key a little bit so it doesn't turn the engine on, but it rotates the engine. So like bump, boom, bump, boom. And what that does, you just bump it 2 or 3 times. Is if these are off by like a tooth or something, the little bumps should push it back in line with the rest of the pulleys. So you do those little bumps, top this off, and then after you top it off, you leave the lid off and keep adding fluid. And when it's filled up, you're gonna get in the truck and turn the wheel left and right, and that'll make it activate the pump, which will use the fluid, so it'll help get the air out of the system. So anyways, that's basically what you have to do. I'm gonna go grab some fluid and call it a day here, and give my mom her truck back so she can get back to driving. So anyways, plus I got work later, so that sucks. But yeah, just wanted to knock this out. The pump was super easy to install. Really the biggest pain was crawling out of the car, man, to get those hoses in there, because I have like knee problems, and getting up and down is really annoying. So anyways, I hope this helps some of y'all out. I'll show a video with the fluid and stuff, I guess, but as far as tutorial, this is basically the end of the video. So unless you want to stick around and watch me put fluid in it and be like, hey, success, then you guys are free to go. And I'll catch you in the next one. Forgot to mention, guys, I'm heading to the auto store right now. Take your old core with you, because you can get some money back on it. I'm gonna get 35 bucks back, so just why not, right? Especially if you're gonna make a trip. You got your core out, go ahead and take it back. Hey, washing the garage floor here, getting all this crud off the floor. Got the pump, everything going. Rinsed off the motor. Don't worry if you want to do the same, you can rinse your motor. It's just fine. you know, try not to spray your relays or your battery too much, and try to avoid your alternator and obviously any like electrical. And if you can, avoid spraying your spark plugs and your intake. And other than that, everything else can pretty much get wet. So anyways, I got it installed. I'm going to show you what I meant when I said bumps for the belt alignment here. So you're going to kind of, keys here. Okay, now this is a bump. That's a bump. All right. Our steering is back. Heck yeah. All right. Now all you got to do is check for leaks. No leaks, then you're good to go. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Subscribe and all that if you like. That's always cool. Makes me feel good. But if not, no hard feelings. I'll see you next time. Bye.